Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Welch's knows some things make zero sense, like why the algorithm knows your music tastes better than you do. But zero sugar and full flavor? We made that make sense with new Welch's Zero Sugar. All that passion fruit or tropical punch goodness and none of the sugar. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Small Town Murder Express.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Absolutely. All aboard the murder train, folks.
Yeah, choo-choo, you sons of
bitches.
Choo-choo,
pulling away from the station. Thank you for joining us once again. We're going to get into this because we got a whole lot of just crazy murder. This is just insanity. Very quickly before we start, you want tickets for live shows, merchandise, everything like that. Shutupandgivememurder.com is the place for that. And if you want bonus episodes, even more Small Town Murder, patreon.com/crime and sports. Anybody over the $5 or above, you get access to all of it. Crime and sports, Small Town Murder, the whole back catalog, all the Patreon, all the bonus. This week, our two episodes are for Crime and Sports, the downfall of Bobby Knight, which he was an Indiana head basketball coach there in college.
In the country. Yeah.
I mean, he was a national champion, coached the Olympic team, everything you want to, every superlative there is. And then he was always an asshole, but he really went off the deep end.
And really tanked it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that last year. And then Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about something that people have been asking us to do for a long time. We're going to talk about a 27-year-old documentary on HBO Max called Lock Up Rikers Island. Because it's
the best earlies. They got into the
doc game. They got in early.
Game so early.
So that, and we're going to talk about general prison stuff and kind of difference in different states and stuff like that. We're going to get into prison stuff. I know international people are very interested in American prisons and stuff, and Americans too. So we'll talk about it all. It'll be gross. Get all of that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And that said, let's do this, Jimmy. Let's go on a trip. But before we do that, I think it's time to clear the lungs.
Oh, yeah, let's do this.
Let's do this and clear the lungs. We'll sit back and shout, shut up.
Shut up and give me murder.
Let's do this, Jimmy.
Okay.
Let's go on a trip, shall we?
Yeah, we shall.
All right, let's head out. We were in Texas on the last Express episode.
Was it?
And yeah, it was Texas, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And this week, though, we are going. Oh, no, it wasn't Texas. We were somewhere else. It doesn't matter where we were. This week, we are in New Jersey. And that's always the Florida of the North, as we like to call it, New Jersey. Yeah. It is a weird, weird place. We're going to Berlin, New Jersey, because why not? Why not name it after Berlin? It's in southwestern New Jersey. You can call any part of New Jersey a panhandle, really. So it's a very
odd-shaped place.
You can liberally throw around the panhandle there, where it's all panhandle, and the whole state lives up to it too, I must say.
Yeah.
This is more, when you think of Jersey, you think like, outside of New York, but this is more suburb of Philly. This place here in the south. It's about south of Jersey. It's about 30 minutes from Philly. So here, a population.
Oh, it's the shit that's across the river there.
Yeah, it's the suburbs. Yeah, if you lived here, you'd probably work in Philly rather than be like a lot farther to New York. Population of this town's about 5,800, a little bit in there. So it's a small little town, kind of crammed in amongst a lot of towns. It's not rural, you wouldn't say at all. Quickly, a little bit of history, just because it's wild. The original name of this place was Long A Coming.
Gross.
Which sounds like what a porn star announces before he jizzes on your face. Like that's Long A Coming. You're like, oh boy, everyone get ready. That is disturbing.
That's probably a porn title, right?
I'm sure. Long A Coming. It has to be. Yeah. It's got coming and long in it. I don't know how someone wouldn't have just put an A in between those and filmed something. I feel like absolutely. Well, it was the local natives here, Native Americans, used the Long A Conning Trail. That was what they called it, and then somehow it became Long A Coming, and that was that. It was a stagecoach stop and all that kind of shit. They laid the rail line in 1853. They built the Long A Coming Railroad Station.
All right.
Oh, boy, you got to come in there. But in 1867, they were like, you know what? That is everyone laughs and makes jokes. Let's the amount of bukkake jokes I've heard living in this town, I can't handle it. Let's change the name here.
We really thought people would get sick of doing it, but it seems like it just keeps happening.
It keeps happening. It's the same people. It's different people. It's old people, young people. It's too much. Yeah. So they changed it to Magnolia, which sounds nicer. But there was nearby, like within 20 miles, there was another town already called Magnolia. So they were like, you can't do that, stupid. So that only lasted 3 months. And then they finally just changed it to Berlin, which who knows? People from here, Kelly Ripa was born here. So
is that right?
Yeah, it's a lot of Kelly Ripas walking around. Good luck with that, everybody. Yeah. Couple of reviews of this town very quickly. Not a lot here for reviews. There's a lot of 5-star reviews. This town does a lot for the community and the children. This is 5-star. The schools are absolutely outstanding, both academically and tends to the needs of each student. They have done a lot for my family and my children. Next to no crime activity, there's access to a wonderful park for kids. We also have the famous Berlin Diner. Famous, Jimmy. I know that you've been. It's a goal to get there as a young man. Someday I'll get to that. German
cuisine is a real tourist hotspot.
Oh, everyone loves it. Everyone says more kraut, please. We have the famous Berlin Diner that was featured in the movie Jersey Girl. Then now I'm all about it. Here's a couple here that are weather related, which I always love when you review a town based on weather. Because weather's a thing that happened before you got there and was happening. You're moving into the weather.
Yeah, right.
So 3 stars. The last storm that sneaked up on my area, was a surprise, and local agencies were not quick to get the snow plows out on the main road. They need to be able to respond faster when weathers happen suddenly. Well, you just said it. It's sudden. So, that's what happens. And then another 3-star. There's no 0 or 1 stars, no real bad ones. We have all 4 seasons here. Okay.
Yeah.
We do occasionally get bad winter storms and hurricanes, but they are normally not so bad. Okay, great. Okay. So average. And then the only thing to do here is the Berlin Strawberry Festival.
I could get down with that.
I like strawberries. Yeah. They were doing it years and years ago. Then they cranked it back up again.
Okay.
And they said, wow, it's really, coming along. More people showed up than they thought. They were
right about 88, probably with Strawberry Shortcake. It really kicked off.
They did it 50 years ago, and then 3 years ago they restarted it again.
Okay,
and
they missed the whole Strawberry Shortcake marketing.
They missed
campaign?
the whole craze, the whole 80s Strawberry Shortcake craze over their heads. They totally
good smelling dolls, and they didn't even capitalize.
Not a thing, not a damn thing.
Idiots.
So they, there's Strawberry Shortcake there, and then of course music. Rich Lolena and his friends. You got Ray Mixon.
Go with the berries.
You got Ray Mixon coming on down.
All right.
Frank Varelli, who sounds like he owns a sandwich shop. Gino Ristra. Hey, I'm over here performing.
Of course.
Come see me over here. What are you doing with that fucking fox strawberry? You get strawberries anywhere. You can only get Gino Ristra right fucking here. Let's go.
So far, 50% of the acts are very Italian.
Well, yeah. Well, what do you expect? And I'm sure Ray Mixon changed his name because that's what happens a lot, too. Sonny Barry.
Used to be Marinara.
Yeah, he used to be Ray Marinara, and he changed it. Used to be Ray Mastacholi, and he shortened it up a little. Sonny Barry, which definitely sounds like an anglicized Italian name. His name's like Baramangioni or some shit, and he's like, I'm Sonny Barry. How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Is that the headliner? You got to have him headline, right?
And Sky's Hot Red Trio. That's the last one. I don't know what that is. So anyway, that's the town. Fuck that. Let's talk about a murder. Let's do this, Jimmy. We got to go back not too far for this one.
Okay.
Going back to 2013. So not very far. Let's do this. This is January 28th, 2013. I'll talk about a couple of people first off. So it's a nice night. People are sitting outside in the yard talking. There's kind of a social gathering.
January? It's a nice night?
Apparently so. It's not bad out because they're all hanging out outside.
Wow, Jersey people are different.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an evening time too, so it's going to get chilly.
Yeah, they better be having jackets on. Jesus.
There's a barbecue area out there. I think.
What?
I don't know if they're not grilling right now, but there's a barbecue, sit down, hang out barbecue area, and that's where they're hanging out.
Yeah.
From what it sounds like, this is the woman who lives here, who's kind of directing the social activities here, is Trisha Doolin is her name, Dulin, and she's in her early 20s, and everybody here is kind of in their early 20s. She lives in the house with her family as well, so her parents and shit like that. So.
Got it.
I feel like it's one of those. They're hanging out outside. They can drink and smoke and bullshit.
Not annoy the parents. Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry, I still live here, but I gotta have a life.
That sort of thing. So she's hanging out outside that night, talking to a young man named Vincent De Filippis. So, Vinny De Filippis, how you doing? How are you? I missed my spot at Strawberry Festival. I couldn't make it. You know what I mean? So the other guy, Sonny Barry, took my place.
Of course, there's a Vinny D.
Hey, Vinny D. So they're sitting outside talking, and like I said, this is Trisha's house, and there's an outdoor barbecue area deal out there. So that's the other thing. If there's a bar, temperature be damned.
Yeah.
They must not have a basement. Yeah. Beer's cold, booze is cold. So they're socializing. This is the first time apparently they've hung out since they had graduated from high school, which was a few years ago. So
Jesus.
Yeah, they're catching up. You know what I mean?
3-year reunion.
It's like a 5-year reunion, you could call it. So for when they, who knows, dropped out / graduated. On our show, you never can tell. So
forced out one way or the other.
Yeah, forced out's a good way to put it. Let's just say that, since they were forced from high school with their hair on fire. So anyway, at about 10 p.m., that night. So, I mean, Jesus, it's 10 p.m. in late January. It's going to be...
It's somebody's mom's house.
They're still outside hanging out. Yeah. And this Vinny D, they must like each other. We'll put it that way also, because you don't talk to somebody unless you're into them in the cold. Yeah, at 10 p.m. in the Jersey winter night.
Right.
So someone else shows up at 10 p.m. This is Corretti Paulson is his name. Kereti. Now, Corretti here is Trisha's ex-boyfriend. They've only recently broken up. Now, Corretti here, Paulson, he is 25 years old. He's, we'll talk about what he does and stuff, but he's got a child who's 4 years old at this point with another girl. And then there is some discrepancy over whether he is also Trisha's daughter's father as well.
Got it.
So it seems like she says he is and that sort of thing, but he has told people that he isn't. So we don't know exactly.
He just pops through at 10 p.m.
He comes up at 10 p.m., pops up in the backyard. This is the backyard. This isn't the front yard, mind you.
Yeah, that's questionable.
He pops up and, their relationship was a tough one. They had, it was rocky young people, and at the time they were both doing drugs as well. So,
well, that makes it much harder.
We've also, if you haven't seen Dope Sick Love, watch it on HBO Max, because when you mix drugs into a young relationship, it makes it rocky. Let's just say
for the screaming each other's name.
You get Sebastian in the middle of Manhattan. It's problems. So Paulson, from around this area, he graduated from high school in 2006 from Eastern High School in Voorhees, and he's been working like restaurant, bar jobs, bartender, server, that sort of thing. He worked at a place in Wildwood. He's bouncing around. He's trying to figure it out. He's also into music. He does music. Not sure what he plays, or I don't know if I don't know what his musical proclivities
maximizing cash flow per ability, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So he's doing his thing, though. Apparently he's a good dad, actually. He's got his ex-girlfriend's name is Lauren Palmer, and they have the kid together. She said that he was a good dad, always around there. She also will say that he's not the father of Trisha's child, even though everybody else says that he is.
Lauren says this?
Yeah, Lauren Palmer says that, the ex. Okay. She says that she and Paulson and Corretti there have remained friends. She called him, quote, my personal comic relief.
Okay, so very funny.
Yeah, she described him as a genuinely nice, good guy, but also he struggles with drugs a lot.
Oh.
She said, quote, he was always wanting to be clean, which is wanting to be clean and being clean are extremely different things.
Yeah.
So
wish in one hand, needle in the other.
Absolutely. He has several arrests, mostly on drug charges in his past, which happens. So apparently Trisha had started seeing another guy, and Paulson wanted her back, and that's what's going on. And so now Paulson is in the backyard thinking that DeFilippis is the guy. Vinny D is the fucking guy I'm after here. He's the one there. On Paulson's MySpace page.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, 13. That's a little late for a MySpace page,
sure
by the way.
Is.
Yeah, you were riding MySpace to its last
He was really betting Timberlake was turning this ship around.
Wow. Yeah, 2013.
That was when Justin bought it.
2008 was like, okay. Well,
that was the peak of it, yeah.
No, that was like it's starting to die now.
Yeah, that was the peak of it. Like, it's starting to go away.
Because that's when Facebook started to come up. So then, everyone was like, oh, this is weird. I don't want to listen to everybody's favorite song when I click on their stupid page.
Worse, it was like people were like, I don't want to have 2 of these stupid things. And now they have 6 of them.
Yeah. Now they have 12, all with different passwords, and they get a new phone, and they need to sign in because the facial recognition needs you to sign in once, and then you don't remember it, and then you fucking have to start over. So anyway.
But still, I hope Justin Timberlake lost a shitload of money on that.
I'm sure he did. I don't know how he wouldn't have. What was he thinking? Hey, that old thing no one likes, I'm going to make him like it again. All righty. You'd have been better off just investing in a new one, and taking a chance, rolling the dice.
But the changes that he made were not what everybody wanted to change. Like
I didn't even know what he did.
The music was still there. It's just a different layout.
I didn't even know what he did because it was so dead by then it didn't matter. So MySpace, he leaves a long note describing his relationship with Trisha on his MySpace page. And the end of the note says, "I love you very much, Trisha Ann Doolin, and will love you for as long as we both shall live." So, he also...
Good place to put that. Nobody's going to see it.
He also, him and 4 other people. He also talks about their fights all the time, his regrets. He's makes apologies on his MySpace page to her all the time. So apparently, according to her sister, Trisha's got a sister named Ashley who also lives in the house. We'll talk about who exactly is living in this home. But she said the family disliked Paulson because he got Trisha into drugs. That's what everybody says.
Got it.
So we don't know if that's true. We don't know if she was doing drugs beforehand. We have no idea. But
do we know what drug it is that he does?
There's needles involved in these drugs. We'll put it that way. Yeah, it's not just...
It's legit hardcore
shit. There's needles involved, as we talk about. Once syringes make their first appearance, now you're in a whole other level.
Yeah. Right. Now it's really hard to get out.
Yeah, that's a whole other fucking thing. We've talked about that before. So apparently they used heroin. That was their deal, their drug of choice. And Trisha broke up with Paulson. She, I guess, got clean, and he wasn't getting clean. That was the crux of the whole thing. That's what the family said anyway. So she broke up with him, and he wanted her back.
That's the thing about being clean. After being an addict, you cannot be around the people that are addicts anymore.
No. If they're not going to be on board with it, it's going to be difficult for you to do that. So now Vinny D, he knew Paulson from high school. So he was like, oh, yeah, I know this guy. Everybody's familiar here. He said he hadn't seen him since he graduated high school, though. It's been years since he saw him.
Graduated before them.
Yeah, a couple of years before, too. So Paulson, Paulson ends up approaching Vinny D, and immediately a physical fight ensues. Because it's it is New Jersey, Jimmy. That's what happens. In New Jersey, if you approach someone, that means we're fighting. There's no other. That's how it is. What are you looking at? I don't know. You think you better than me? No, you better than me, and then you're punching. You don't even know each other. You have no idea what you're even doing there before any explanations. People fight the Amazon guy. They don't care. There.
Punch in the nose is a Jersey handshake.
Would you put that on my porch just like that? Yeah, you put it on. Get over here. All right, and then they're fighting each other. That's all. It's a Jersey fist bump. It's called the face bump. They do it a little differently there. So a physical fight ensues. Nothing terrible. Nobody grabs no knives involved. Okay. Nobody grabs a rock and hits the other guy. This isn't
shoving, maybe some punching.
That's exactly what it is. Some scrapes they have from being on the ground, little bloody knuckles, and hey, this
went
guy
to the ground.
Oh yeah, they were punching and then they were wrestling. Yeah, I mean that's
some ground and pound in this thing.
Every fight between people that don't know how to fight ends up on the ground. Either they know how to wrestle really well, or if they don't know how to fight at all. That's their only, I don't know how to punch, I better grab you, or I know how to grab you really well, and so I'll grab you. One of the two.
And they take him to the ground in a really hard slam, that ends the fight.
Yeah.
Never seen anybody go out.
No. Well, it's like wrestling, though. If you give someone a good power slam, then they would have, their stuns them enough. You can get up
everybody,
at least pose to the crowd for a minute,
Yeah. At least the crowd watched me do that because I can't punch this guy down.
No, exactly. So the fight was short, though, and, Trisha was trying to get in the middle of it. Nobody wanted to punch Trisha, so everybody kind of broke it up. It was a very little scuffle between two, Jersey morons, basically. So
it shouldn't have happened.
Exactly. It was stupid. This guy's in the backyard. Hey, how's it going? Hey, I haven't seen you since high school. Oh, fuck. Now we're punching each other?
Why are you punching me?
Yeah, it was one of those. So I don't blame DeFilippis for this. He seemed to be fine. But either way, Trisha ends up now yelling at Paulson and telling him the relationship's over. You can't come around the backyard to get mad because I'm talking to guys. We're not together. It's okay.
You're trespassing.
Yeah, so Trisha then goes inside the house with Vinny D. They go in together, and Paulson remains outside standing in the driveway.
Okay.
So now he's out in the driveway. So Trisha then tells her family, by the way, her family here is based, it's her mom and dad, Thomas and Helen. Then her sister Ashley also lives here. Yeah. And Ashley's fiance, Timothy Canfield, he lives there as well. He's 25 years old. And they have a child as well. Jesus. And Ashley has a 5-year-old who is Tim's son, Timothy Canfield's son, and Trisha also has a son. So there's a lot going on. A lot of Jersey stuffed into this house, man.
3 generations of it.
Yeah, it's happening. So Trisha tells her family, oh, Christ, he's still out there. Paulson, he's still sitting in the driveway. So Ashley comes out with her soon-to-be husband, her fiance, Timothy Canfield. They come outside.
Yeah.
They come out of the bedroom, and they're like, what the fuck's going on here? He's an auto mechanic, Timothy here.
That's a tough dude.
He's a tough dude. He's got his wife/fiance, we don't know which, and a young child here. So Canfield, he's got a couple of scrapes as well. In 2004, when he was a juvenile, he was placed on probation for endangering the welfare of a 4-year-old child.
What did he do?
And is a, quote, Megan's Law registrant.
What?
So I don't know what the fuck he did, but
Megan's Law is like firing into the air, isn't it?
Possibly. Maybe
I think that's the Megan's Law.
Maybe he
I'd
shot
have to
her.
Google it, but maybe he fired a weapon around a child.
Either way, yeah, you can get a good picture of what's going on here.
Yes, he's a loose cannon.
When you're a Megan's Law registrant or any child's name's law registrant, that's a problem probably.
Oh, it is way worse. That is a sex offender.
Okay, well, there you go. So endangering the welfare of a 4-year-old. 4.
Jesus.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4-year-old.
Yeah.
The prosecutor here, later, and another one also charged him in 2008 with burglary and a theft charge as well.
What the fuck?
The theft charge was eventually expunged from his record. That was juvenile, but he still got the Megan's Law thing going on. So apparently that you don't age out of that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm using a very specific one though.
Yeah.
That they put in
That's
there.
That's fascinating that they say it that way. Maybe it was like something that wasn't, you know what I mean?
I think it's worse.
Yeah.
I think that's specific because, like, a sex offender registry, you could be pissing in an alley and get on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this might be actually like you were around a kid fucking around. Like, this is not just sex offense, any sex offense. This guy touched a 4-year-old, or I don't know if he touched a 4-year-old or whatever the fuck he did around a 4-year-old. Something illegal around a 4-year-old.
Yeah, but Megan's Law doesn't tell me what he did. You know what I mean?
No, and he was a juvenile.
So much so that I had to Google that shit.
It's fucked up. So either way, some form of pervert, we can say, I would say.
There you go.
There you go. Some form of pervert, Timothy Canfield is.
Why is that word so much fun?
It's a hilarious word. It always makes me laugh because my mother told me when I was like 2 years old, we were in the grocery store, and some douchebag old man was in there, and my mother was buying cookies for me, and the old man came up and said, is your mommy buying you cookies? Is your mommy a cookie monster? And I, with great indignance, I was offended by this. I said, my mommy's not a cookie monster. My mommy's a pervert, I told him, and that was I don't know where I heard that word at 2 years old. I didn't know what it meant, obviously, but I told him clear as day, pointing in his face, my mommy's a pervert. And he was like, what the fuck? She said it made him go away, though, so maybe that's all I was trying to do. Yeah.
Only in your life getting people away from you.
Keep walking, old man. That's right.
We're perverts over here.
Perverts. See these carrots? She'll stick it right up your ass, my mother. She's a sick one.
You, sir, are talking to a pervert.
You're talking to a pervert. Yeah, the truth. So the way it's put in a court record is, as a juvenile, he was adjudicated delinquent for endangering the welfare of a child. He was sentenced to a 3-year term of probation. He violated the probation and was sentenced to continued probation as a result of that violation. And as an adult, he successfully completed pretrial intervention after being charged with the 3rd-degree criminal trespass, and there was a burglary thing in there. At the time, though, he's fully clear. He's not on probation, not on parole, no restraining orders. He's doing doing fine. Just keep him away from the kids, even though he has
but
one.
Also, with all of that, granted, I don't know that I trust him around my kids, but I do trust him to go out front and clear the front yard of assholes.
Clear it of assholes. He's probably got a big wrench hanging around. He's a mechanic,
Not afraid to hit somebody with it, that's for
big
sure.
lug wrench. Hey, Vinny D, come with me. So Ashley also says that, Paulson, we think he stole from our house one time. So Timothy at this point gets mad that they're all sitting in the house. Canfield's like, why are we all sitting here? This fucking jerk-off's outside. He's a fucking junkie, and he's a thief, and, he won't go away. And what are we going to sit in here and be hostage?
I'll solve this.
Yeah, I will go out there and rub my balls on his forehead and see how he likes that. Yeah, that's right. Don't worry, everyone.
Junkie.
I'm a Megan's Law registrant. I'll take care of this. I know how to handle this.
Nobody wants to be around when there's a pervert around. I'll go out there.
I'll go out there. Hold on. I'll let him know what a pervert I am. Hold on a minute. Be right back. He'll run away. Don't worry.
Just going to hand my Megan's Law paperwork.
Yeah, I'll go show it to him. Hold on. Wait, let me get my identification card. Here you go. There you go, sir. Sir? Take a look at this business card right here.
You're trespassing on a pervert's property.
Actually, does he live close by? Because I'm supposed to tell everybody. So if I haven't already told him, I'm really just doing my legal duty at this point, right? So he gets angry, and he goes, this guy's not supposed to be here. Right. So at this point, Trisha, Ashley, Vinny D, and Canfield all go outside.
All right.
Two couples.
Now we got a mob.
Now we got a rumble. This is great. Chains and knives only, please. So they go outside. They begin to argue with Paulson. They argue with him for several minutes for some reason. And then they go back inside the house, the four of them, and he remains outside in the driveway. So that was pointless.
Yep. That did the trick.
Still sitting out there. Now, what Canfield has, he's got an idea of how to get rid of him. He grabs himself a compound bow and some arrows.
What?
Yes. Do you know what a compound bow is? They're the ones that have
That's the one with two strings, right?
It's got like
and
three
the pulley
strings.
System and shit.
Yeah, it's like it looks like a harp with it's a big.
It takes down elk.
That's the thing. It's used in. I looked up the whole thing. They're used in target practice and hunting mainly. The pulley cam system grants the user a mechanical advantage, and so the limbs of a compound bow are much stiffer than that of a recurve or longbow. This rigidity makes the compound bow more energy efficient than other bows, as less energy is dissipated in limb movement.
Right. Don't you dare dry fire that, because it will pull all those strings off the pulleys and you will restring that fucking thing.
Damn it. I'll throw this out now. The higher rigidity, higher technology construction also improves accuracy by reducing the bow's sensitivity to changes in temperature and humidity. Okay. Right. This is what he does.
It's got a little fucking target on it, James.
Yeah. They're crazy. I know that.
They're insane.
Yeah. They're crazy fucking. Yeah. They're wild.
It takes all the bow and arrow work out of bow and arrow hunting. It's so easy.
It's not like your typical, like you'd think of it, like archery, like they made you do in high school or some shit,
it's
like back in the day. It's not that sort of thing. This is a different deal.
This is the AR-15 of bow hunting.
Yeah, this thing is wild. So... Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News & World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well.
Right.
And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
During this, he goes outside and, there's a bit of a confrontation. Hey, get the hell out of here. He's got his bow. There's a difference between them of about 30 feet at this point, by the way.
That is shit.
They're close, but they're not within punching distance at all. No. For a bow, it's a very short distance, but I mean, there's no hand weapons or punching isn't going to do anything from this type of deal. So he went outside and he said that later on he'll claim Canfield here was afraid of Paulson and didn't know what Paulson was going to do. Said he's unpredictable. He's a junkie, for God's sake. You never know what those people are going to do. So he yelled at Paulson to leave. He said again and again, and he wouldn't leave. He said, get the hell out of here. And he said, no. Yeah. It's winter in New Jersey at night. He's leaving eventually.
Call the police.
The wind chill's about fucking 8 below. I think he's going to leave soon right now. He's got icicles hanging from his nose. Looks like Nicholson at the end of The Shining. I think he's going to leave soon.
Call the police and tell them there's a junkie and a pervert. They'll show up fast.
Yeah, right now there's a junkie, a pervert, and a bow and arrow in my front yard. Not going to tell you who's got what or who's doing what, but just come sort it out. What'd you thanks? And you hang up. Lock the doors. Put a movie on.
Lock the doors, turn the lights off.
Put a goddamn movie on. So Canfield said that at this point he claims that Paulson started coming toward him.
Yeah.
And he claims that he pulled something out of his pocket, Paulson did. So he said he's 30 feet away, and he started walking toward him, and he saw him pull something out of his pocket. He says this. He says that it was dark, and I couldn't really tell what it was. But from the looks of it, from what he could see in the dark from 30 feet away, he decided that Paulson must have pulled out an HIV-infected needle.
Okay.
Because that's what I usually... That's what I think immediately when someone goes in their pocket. I go, he must have an HIV-infected needle in there. Everybody, right? That's what we're all thinking. That's the weapon of choice that most people have.
AIDS? Jesus.
Oh, Jesus! Yeah, he's going to spray it everywhere. That's normal.
Post 1994. That's a crazy thing to think.
It's insanity. So. The only time I've ever heard of this is on Oz, the show about prison when Adebisi stuck a guy with an AIDS needle, and that was a big deal. So anyway, think about this confrontation. 10:30 at night, you can hear the wind chill.
Yeah.
It's cold out there. There's some snow on the ground.
See your breath. You can taste the snow.
We got an auto mechanic with a fucking huge, crazy, scary, terrifying bow. And
pulleys on it.
And apparently a man wielding an HIV-infected needle in a confrontation in the front yard in the snow. This is ridiculous. Wow. I don't even know.
This is your equivalent to the Old West.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is like the end of the good, the bad, and the ugly is going on right now. If Eli Wallach had an AIDS needle, it's just different. Where's Lee Van Cleef's crossbow is what I didn't notice. So this is ridiculous, obviously. The whole thing is asinine. He says that he figured that's what it was because from what he knows, in a recent text message, Canfield says that Paulson acknowledged that he was HIV positive to Tricia. So he had told her he was HIV positive, and now he's coming toward him. So what must be in his hand is an HIV needle, obviously. So Because that's what he's got. He's going to wield that. That's like having a full clip. If you're, he goes, I have liters of this shit. I can just get you. You have no idea.
I have it in reserve.
So, anyway, this is what ends up happening. Apparently, during this, at some point, he fires a bow at Paulson. Or an arrow. He fires an arrow at Paulson, which you got to pull it back.
Right.
So there still must be some distance. And he fires the arrow at Paulson, and he hits him. He hits him with a fucking arrow.
Where?
In the chest, in the torso.
Oh, my God. Center mass?
Center massed him with an arrow.
That is crazy.
This is crazy. So now he's staggering away, okay? Yeah. We don't know what's up with the needle at this point. So he's staggering away, and he staggers into a neighbor's yard, like he's trying to get away from there. The neighbor, this is as crazy as it gets. Okay?
Pulled out their bow and shot him again.
No, the neighbor pulled out a catapult on his roof and shot a fucking cannonball at this guy. That would be the only thing that would make this any weirder, wouldn't it?
Poured boiling oil.
The neighbor mounted his horse and picked up his jousting rod and challenged fucking Canfield to a match. That would be the only thing any weirder.
This is crazy.
This is bonkers. So there's a neighbor named Joseph Cassis, of course, and he comes out of his house to investigate because now he's heard all sorts of crazy shit, and they were yelling at each other. He sees Paulson in his front yard lying on the ground and asks him from the front porch there, because it's cold out. He's not coming out. He says, "Hey, you okay? What's going on here?" Yeah. So that's when Canfield comes over, waves at the neighbor, and goes, "Nah, he's just been drinking. Sorry, we'll get him out of your yard. Don't worry. He's been drinking. He fell over." He's got a fucking 3-foot-long arrow protruding from his torso.
You just shot him, you pervert.
You goddamn pervert. What, are you going to jerk off on him now? Get out. Both of you off my property.
He's been drinking. Who are you, Dahmer? What are we doing?
Jesus Christ. This is a Dahmer situation. They don't call it long a coming for nothing. Here I go. So... anyway, he said he's been drinking, so Cassis shrugged his shoulders, went back in the house.
All right,
that's fine. It's South Jersey. It happens. Drunks pass out on your lawn. So wow. Cassis said that he'd been hearing noise coming from the Doolins' backyard the whole evening, and that before he came out and saw the apparently drunken Paulson laying there, he said that he heard someone say, quote, "What, are you going to shoot me with that?" And then he said, which is not good, then he heard some, quote, some groans underneath his bedroom window, and it sounded like someone was in distress. So
like someone was shot with that.
Yeah, so he went outside, heard he was drinking, went inside, then, because he's still listening to outside, now you're curious,
Yeah.
Minding your own business is one thing, but this is getting to where you got to put your ear up to the door and listen now.
There's only so much personal business you can mind before this is now your business.
Now you turn all the lights out and just open the blinds a 1/100th of an inch and stare out there. What's going on? The older guy, he's coming out now. I don't know. He looks upset. Hold on. Wait, I'll tell you in a minute. Like, this is a...
Oh, he's got a pulley system bow.
Oh, Jesus, this isn't good. There's always a narrator in that situation. It's never both people looking out. It's one person.
Then it's too much gap in between the blinds. It's got to be one eye.
One little eye, and then it's a narration. This is what's happened. Oh, my God, is he doing that? I don't know. I told you what I see. How can I told you. Whatever I see, I'll tell you about. I'm not hiding anything. So... he said he heard, "Are you going to shoot me with that?" Then, while he was inside, he quote, believed he heard someone say something about being shot with an arrow.
Okay.
Which is, something to be concerned about. So then he had his son call 911. He's like, "Why don't you call 911? There might be a wounded man outside there." So anyway, back to Timothy Canfield here. Around this time, he drags Paulson back over to his side of the yard there not to cause any alarm with Cassis.
Bleed on our snow.
Must have reached in Paulson's pocket because he takes out his cell phone and calls 911. Canfield does, and pretends to be Paulson.
What?
He says, "I'm this guy and I've been shot."
Okay. All
right. So, because he wants to call 911, but he doesn't want to be like, "I just shot a guy with an arrow." Right. So, anyway, he leaves him out there, walks in the house with his bow and arrow, and then tells the gathered masses in the house, quote, "I shot an arrow. I don't know what happened." He knows exactly what happened. Yeah. First of all, so he said he shot an arrow. Then he told his wife / fiance Ashley that he shot an arrow at the fence to scare Paulson. That was his goal here.
But a terrible shot.
Or the best shot, one of the two. Either or. So about 10:50 p.m., 10:50, officers from the Berlin Police Department reach the scene. When they get there, they find Paulson lying face down and kind of by the neighbor's yard there. He doesn't appear to be alive. They rush him to the hospital where he is pronounced dead, obviously. They find, as well, here's the medical examining quick here. Medical examiner who performed the autopsy concluded that Paulson died from an arrow wound to the abdomen that caused massive bleeding. When's the last time you heard that as a cause of death? The 1878? Someone was coming across the prairie? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Custer was the last person to die like this, I think, maybe.
300?
Yeah, 300. What are we doing? I think Custer was after 300, maybe, so we'll give him the most recent. But the most famous, maybe 300. So he explained, the medical examiner, that the path of the V-shaped wound, because it's an arrow, went through the abdominal wall, the stomach, then struck a large vein called the iliac vein, and ended with a partial exit on the back.
Is that the big one that goes through your spine?
Yeah, and it went through him, Jimmy. He had it.
Oh my God!
He had it sticking out his stomach, and then it was coming out of his back, like Steve Martin doing a fucking comedy act. Like he had it like
around his waist.
Yeah, he just put it around his waist. I want to switch it up tonight, everybody. So, and we love Steve Martin. Don't get upset.
Greatest.
It resulted in, quote, 2.5 liters of blood within his abdomen. It filled up with blood.
Internal bleeding.
Which normally, quote, shouldn't contain any blood. So
is that right?
If it's usually 0, 2.5 is bad. 2.5 liters is bad. Medical examiner noted that KP, quote, had no pre-existing conditions or diseases that could have contributed to his death. So
I don't have HIV.
We don't know if that means he didn't have HIV or he didn't have HIV enough didn't turn into AIDS to kill him, or what it was, but that's in the medical report. So
what he didn't have were any diseases that caused 2.5 liters of blood to be in your abdomen.
Fill your abdomen and an arrow to poke out of your back.
Right.
Next to his body, they found an orange-capped syringe lying there. Okay, an orange-capped syringe. Now, police, they question at the house Vinny D and Trisha there, and they end up giving conflicting statements. So then they put them in separate police vehicles to talk to them again. So Trisha initially told the police that she had not seen Paulson in weeks and didn't know why the officers had been dispatched to the residence. They showed up, knocked on the door, and she's like, "How you guys doing?" And they were like, "We hear there's a guy shot with an arrow in your yard." And she was like, "I don't know anything about that."
There's a guy out there?
Yeah. And they're like, Coretti Paulson. And she's like, "I haven't seen him in weeks." She acted like he wasn't there that night and knew nothing about it. He's bleeding out in the yard, mind you.
He just fought your boyfriend in the backyard.
And then bled out in the yard, yeah.
Right.
So this is odd. And DeFilippis, Vinny D, also lied to the police initially, later saying that he was concerned that they had been called because they were fighting earlier. Maybe that's why the cops were there, which we know is bullshit because Canfield announced to everybody, "I'm going out with the bow and arrow to clear the yard," and then came in, "I shot an arrow. I don't know what happened." So he's a pretty good idea.
Vinny D better fess up quick because you've got scrapes all over you.
Well, we're getting,
you know what I mean?
That's the next sentence here.
You look guilty as fuck.
Well, he initially told police, and this is even worse because he lied about it. He initially tells police that his knuckles were bloody. Why, Jimmy? Why are his knuckles ripped up and scraped and bleeding?
I do a lot of push-ups.
No, that would actually be at least a plausible in some way. Yeah. What's the craziest thing he could say?
I do a lot of jerking off.
You're actually close.
All right.
My knuckles are torn up and ripped up and bloody, quote, from engaging in sexual activity with Trisha.
I've been fisting her all night.
And she has teeth in there? What are we talking about? How would your knuckles get scraped from sexual activity. How the fuck? Look, I'm up for whatever. People do your freaky shit. I've never been like, whoo, boy, looks like I really punched the shit out of someone after I'm done. Never happened once. I've never had a...
Officer, she can't come unless I punch her in the twat.
And somehow I punched her so many times my knuckles opened up. Either that or she's got, metal and jewelry down there. She's got 8 clit rings, officer. 8 of them. Some of them are big and bulky. I don't know. I just cut you up down there. What in the fuck is happening?
Like the guy from Disturbed down there.
Imagine you show up to this scene and this is the stories you're hearing. Arrows, junkies, AIDS needles.
Saber-toothed twat now.
Yeah, she's an absolute saber-toothed twat. Yeah, 100%. It's like an eel down there. You don't want to get too close to it. She's very... Oh, my God.
Sexual activity.
Oh, man.
Unbelievable.
She has a viper vagina. Don't get near it. Take your knuckles and skin off.
Fucking idiot. What a dumb thing. Is that how
that's
fast
a story
on the spot
cops.
was that? Sex.
That's why I was that. So they asked Trisha about that.
Like a panicked Family Feud answer.
Yeah. What? Name 5 things you find in the bathroom. And the guy's like, a raincoat. Shit. What? Shit.
I'm so sorry. You
Why'd
guys.
I say that?
Divorce me.
Bloody knuckles from sexual activity. No, that's not in the bathroom. So
Steve Harvey would roll his eyes.
So Trisha disputes that statement when asked about it. Did he get? And she's like, "What are you talking about?"
Why would that happen?
Police then said, well, let's take them to the police station because this is ridiculous. We're hearing crazy stories. So they talked to other Doolin family members. This is prior to transporting them to the station. They're just outside in the cars at this point. When they knocked on the door of the residence, Canfield initially answered and then notified Helen. He answered like, oh, boy, cops are here.
Yeah.
The bow and arrow guy. He said Helen Doolin, who's Trisha's mom and the homeowner, hey, police are here. They say they want to search Trisha's bedroom. I don't know. You're the homeowner, so you should talk to him. That was the first time he talked with the police, Canfield. So Helen gives a consent to search the bedroom, and police request that Ashley and Helen come to the police station to provide statements. Sure. At this point, Canfield remains at the residence while everyone else, except for Mr. Doolin, Trisha's dad, it's just Canfield and Trisha's dad are the only ones left at the house. Everyone else is taken to the police station.
They've almost got the murderer.
Almost. So when they searched the house here, this is the other thing. Oh, by the way, the record shows that Trisha's mother consented to the search and the police also came back with a warrant. So they had like double coverage on that one.
Yeah.
Actually, good police work. The police went to the residence. They searched Trisha's bedroom. They found quite a bit of drugs and other orange cap syringes that are the exact same make, model, and everything as the one outside next to Paulson.
Uh-oh.
Okay. They also found drugs on Paulson that were also the same as the ones in the house also. Uh-oh. So someone went outside and was like, here you go. Like the Dave Chappelle joke, sprinkle some crack on him.
Yeah.
It's one of those. So the syringe was identical to the orange cap syringe that they found there. So now they're very suspicious. Mm-hmm. So they end up interviewing Canfield. They got to talk to everybody. The early morning hours of January 29th now this is, Ashley and Helen return home, and he goes to the police. They're switching out the batches of interviewees here. Right. So the first interview they ask him, he says, I don't know. We had like a little scuffle, and I told him to go away, and then I went inside and went to sleep. Okay. That's all. That's it. And then he later on claims that was the first altercation he's talking about when everybody went outside. Then he claims that, he wasn't outside during any other altercation. Then he says that he never left the premises that night and never followed Paulson onto a neighbor's property. Uh-oh. That never happened. When they're asking you specific questions like that means someone told them a specific narrative of what happened, and they know what happened. And you got to...
They have some information, and they're trying to corroborate the information. Yeah.
And now they know you're lying because you said this. This is when you go, I need a lawyer now. That's it. Because they have information. As soon as they say, Did you follow him here? Okay, they have witnesses. They know what happened. I'm fucked. Get me a lawyer. Nothing
there
I say.
There are statements that need to be refuted.
Yeah. So he also said that he'd not spoken to any of his neighbors. What did he think, that Cassis was going to cover for him telepathically? He'd know to do that? He's the guy, he's the first one who called 911. When questioned further, he admitted, okay, yeah, I did talk to Cassis. Did you talk to your next door neighbor, Cassis? Obviously, they know you did. And you go, no. Okay, stupid. So he said that he did speak with them, and he lied when he explained to Cassis that Paulson was on the ground because he was drunk rather than because he had been shot with an arrow, which obviously is what happened.
Absolutely.
So I did know he was shot with an arrow. And then he finally also admitted to police that, yes, he was the one who used Paulson's phone to call 911 and pretend to be Paulson and tell the operator that he was shot. But he tried to spin it like, I wanted to get the guy some help, but I was trying to mind my own business. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too involved with this type of thing.
And this is terrible because he has now admitted that he shot him, knew he was shot, and did nothing to help. That's not good.
Well, he called 911, pretended to be him.
Later.
So then he sits for a little while. Then they interview him a second time. Okay, the next day. During his second interview, he reveals that he lied a lot during his first interview, which we knew already.
We know.
He then disclosed that, yes, he's the guy who shot the arrow. Total accident, mind you. But he also discarded the bow in a wooded area a few miles from the police station after the police had taken everybody down to the station. He jumped in the car and went and threw the fucking bow out.
Wow.
Yeah, he told police that he did this because he was scared and panicked. He agreed to take the officers to the location where he discarded the weapon. After police recover the bow, they take him back to the residence where he then reenacts the version of events that he did. They have him do a reenactment, which is always bad when you're lying because you can't
chilling. Yeah.
You can't make it's like that Diane Downs reenactment when she couldn't make it line up and she was like just started laughing. It was woof. So he does that. They videotape this obviously because it's going to be hilarious later. Yeah. You know the cops are going to get stoned and watch that later and fucking die laughing.
Yeah, some evidence.
He told police that the bow, quote, wasn't even fully drawn. It was just the tension on the string. And when I pulled back, I guess I tripped. And the immaculate shot.
Yeah. And an amazing effort went right through the center.
Yeah. But then at another point, he says he didn't accidentally shoot the arrow. And he said he shot the arrow intentionally as a warning shot to scare him. But then he goes back to it was an accident. So now this is fucking crazy. So anyway, by the way, Paulson's ex-girlfriend there, the Laura Palmer woman, she said, Lauren Palmer, not Laura Palmer, not right, Twin Laura Peaks. So she said,
I'm on the beach.
She's still getting that though. With Lauren Palmer, you're still getting that.
I'm sure, yeah.
She said, quote, he didn't deserve this about Paulson. I'm not saying anyone does, but he was never malicious to anyone. He was a genuinely good person, and we loved him very much, and said that I know Aurora, that's the daughter, will struggle with this throughout her life. She won't remember him. She was too young when he was taken, but Coretti's friends and our family tell her about him all the time. She will know who her father was. She
also one of the worst murders ever. That
horrible.
Hurts so bad. And then you bleed out? How long does it take you to bleed? I mean, probably with that vein, probably pretty fast.
Fast.
Still, you feel your belly filling with blood.
She also said the 911 call was the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Tim is so cold and relaxed through it, but in the background you can hear Coretti crying, moaning, and asking for help. His gasps will haunt our family for the rest of our lives.
Holy.
So they charged Canfield initially, but he's released on bond. Because they don't know what to do with him. But 3 years go by.
Yeah.
And that's how it stands. They don't know what to do, right? The court hasn't happened yet. He's just in limbo.
Wow.
Finally, August of 2016, Vinny D comes forward with some information.
What's he got to say?
And he says this, quote, so the day we got out of the police interrogation from when everything happened that following morning, we were at the police department that night, January 28th, for about 9 hours. The next morning, the police drove me and Trisha back to the house in the police car, both of us. So when we got to the house, Mr. Doolin, who's Trisha's dad, was sitting there waiting for us. And when we got out of the car and the cops had left everything and we got inside and settled down, there was kind of like a family meeting of everybody that was involved. and they came up with the story that we're going to say that Paulson had an HIV-positive needle, so it was self-defense, instead of him just shooting an arrow at somebody he didn't like, and everybody spoke about it. And I guess they had come to some kind of agreement, and that's the way that's what we were going to say, and we're going to plead self-defense on this, try to get Canfield the least time possible for what happened.
Very.
So they all decide to do that. He said that they concocted it in the living room. Ashley had repeatedly reached out to him to discuss the plan, and said it was kind of like a stick to the story type of thing every time they talked on the phone. So finally, December of 2016, a grand jury returns an indictment charging him with first-degree murder, third-degree possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, third-degree hindering apprehension or prosecution, third-degree tampering with witness and informants, and third-degree firing an arrow like a dipshit in your front yard, I believe. Is
First-degree perversion?
First-degree perversion. So during the trial here, his attorneys say that he was deathly afraid of this syringe and all this type of shit. This guy was coming at him. He's crazy. He's a crazy junkie with an HIV syringe. Anybody would have shot an arrow at him rather than just go inside the door and close it because he's 30 fucking feet away and you could just go do that. You could go, never mind, and just go in and close the door just calmly before he could get there. Right. Calmly. By the way, junkies aren't very fast either. They're pretty slow. Meth heads fast. Junkies slower.
Yeah. Depending on how recently he's shot up.
That's true. If he wants it, he could be a little quicker. So during this trial, a conversation between jurors was overheard discussing a piece of evidence. It was a bloody arrow that was found in Canfield's pickup truck but didn't have human DNA on it. So the jurors' conversation was about, was it maybe like that? We don't know when that was there from. It wasn't a match to the victim. It could have been from a squirrel months ago, all this type of shit. This is overheard and a mistrial's declared.
What?
They're not supposed to discuss evidence until deliberations.
Oh, God.
And they were overheard in the courthouse doing this. So not good.
Assholes.
Mistrial. So during the new trial here, 2019, by the way, they bring an expert in on bow and arrows, and it's fucking amazing. Okay. They have this guy is shooting pig carcasses with a bow and arrow, and that's his testimony of exactly how much pressure you needed to put on the bow to be able to penetrate a pig, which is like a person.
The answer is not a lot. I've shot those before. They are staggeringly powerful.
They are. This one, he explained the skin, digestive tract, cardiovascular system, urinary system found in the abdomen of pigs are similar to that of humans, and that the structure and location of blood vessels is almost identical to that of a human in the abdomen. Wow. So he testifies that in order for that bow and those arrows to produce high enough velocity and energy for one of those arrows to approach lethal amount of energy to penetrate a human being, the bow must have been drawn to either 100% or, given our test results, it could be argued, very close to 100%.
Wow.
Every time anything less than that, it wouldn't do it. They went down to, he testified, tests showed that the arrow penetrated the pig's carcass abdomen 16.5 inches at 100% draw, 11.5 inches at 75% draw, 6 inches at 50% draw. At 25% draw, the arrow created a very, very lazy arc toward the carcass, and the arrow stuck in the carcass and then fell harmlessly to the ground.
Okay, so he really let it go.
To go through it, you had to pull it back all the way and do the deal. Timothy testifies. He says, I started backing away from him, and at that point I backed into, we have a ledge in our front shed, and I backed into that, started to lose my balance, and let go of the bowstring. You know how that goes. Like, we've seen that every Three Stooges movie, and ended up shooting. I didn't want to hold on to the bow while I was falling down.
Why not?
So another witness comes forward now, another neighbor, Bertram Franks. And he testified that he heard arguing and fighting outside around 10 p.m. and then observed Canfield come outside with a bow and yell at someone. He saw Canfield aim the bow, but did not see him back up or trip. So That was bullshit. He also said he saw Canfield walk back inside the house holding the bow and looking distraught. So,
no.
Verdict comes in, and it's a lot of, there's lesser charges and all that shit. This is for knowing and purposeful murder. He is not guilty. He's acquitted of knowing and purposeful murder. They find him guilty of aggravated manslaughter, which is a lot less, and guilty of third-degree possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose and hindering apprehension or prosecution. He was also acquitted on 2 counts of tampering with witnesses.
Yeah.
Ashley was charged, or I'm sorry, Trisha was charged during the first trial too, by the way, with tampering with witnesses. They were tried together, but before the mistrial was declared, like the day before, the judge dismissed the charges against her.
Son of a gun.
So he's found guilty. Now the sentencing here, there's some aggravating, there's some mitigating. Talk about him being a liar and all that sort of thing. The mitigating ones are that the judge noted that the victim was trespassing on the property, but we'll talk about this. The thing is, though, he wasn't in the house. And someone being outside when you can simply walk in the house to get away from them isn't considered you're allowed to use deadly force in that particular instance there, at least in New Jersey. So the judge ended up merging the convictions for aggravated manslaughter and possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose for the sentence. So you, Robin Hood, you Robin Hood pervert, may fuck off. He is sentenced to, on the aggravated manslaughter, 18 years in prison.
Oh, boy.
But subject to the No Early Release Act. So the court also imposed 3-year prison terms on the hindering convictions and ordered them to be served concurrently, so at the same time with the other. So he's got to serve this. I think it's 85% he's got to serve of this. That's the No Early Release.
15 years?
He's going to do 15, basically. Yeah.
So, holy shit.
Lauren Palmer, she said that she was happy because now the kid's like 11, his kid. Yeah, right. She said, because this is 2019 this happened. Right. She said that she's, quote, she finally got to see the man that killed her father taken away in handcuffs. That's all she wanted this whole time was to see him taken away, and she was there for the verdict. Okay. She's going to host a true crime podcast one of these days, this kid, with a story. Quickly, I found also in 2019, the month after he was sentenced, he and Ashley together filed bankruptcy in New Jersey.
Oh, so they can't be wrongful death lawsuit.
I guess, they filed. That's in July 24th, 2019, and he was sentenced on, I believe, June 10th. So that's what happens there.
Even though he's responsible, being that it's on the parents' property,
I would think you can.
You would
probably,
think he'd sue her, right?
Probably, yeah. He appeals on a bunch of points. A lot of it was the failure to instruct on certain things. Could it be self-defense in there? He was under the curtilage of the house, which is the overhang. He was in the curtilage, so he could have gone inside, and that guy was not near the curtilage. They got into specific points of where this shit is on the property.
Phrases.
Yeah. Coretti Paulson is buried in New Jersey at the Cold Spring Presbyterian Cemetery in Cape May, New Jersey there. Oh. It's got a nice headstone, too. It's got a picture of him with doves around it and shit. It's it's fucking nice. Yeah, it's really nice. He, I guess his nickname or whatever was Afakazi. So Afakazi, that's even on his gravestone, on his headstone there. So anyway, that is Berlin, New Jersey. Whew. And you can't tell me Express episodes aren't bonkers, man.
Fantastic.
Holy shit. HIV needle versus bow and arrow in a winter's night showdown in the front yard in New Jersey. This is wild.
I'm really mad at the jury just discussing that fact because it feels like it was presented to show that it's not that he murdered somebody else, you fucking lunatics. It's to show that he knows how to fire this fucking thing. That's all it is.
Enough
We're not
to hit
looking
another
for a serial killer.
Yeah. He's going all over the county probably. He can kill a mammal with this fucking thing. Right. So
he's aware of what it takes to fire it to inflict harm, you fucking dipshits.
Jesus Christ. So anyway, there it is. That's that. Thank you so much. Listen to the main show on Thursdays, obviously. Crime and Sports on Tuesdays. Keep coming back. Keep checking us out. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get your bonus stuff. Shutupandgivememurder.com is where you get everything else. Tickets to live shows. Enjoy. Keep coming out. Follow us on social media. And have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus